All right. Okay, this is part 4, and I'm with Chris, my man. And I was asking Chris about like how are you like you're hearing. You know how a lot of musicians have problems trying to hear what they're actually playing. How do we train our ear to hear what how do we transition the sound from what our ears hear to on the keyboard or the piano?
Practicing, and then when you're practicing, or when you're just playing, you're purposely trying to hit F10, which is safe. So you purposely try to say, okay, wait a minute, this is the way B flat. So this B flat used to just stick out to me. So I learned with that B flat sound. So it just stood out to me. So I started hitting that B flat. Same thing with D flat. So praise was out. So and then I just kind of listen out for the D flat sound. That was like one of the main songs. Like, man, I know that song for sure. And then I Need You to Survive. And that kind of thing. So that's for keys, because most people can't develop a perfect pitch. Like, okay, that's a D flat. You know what I mean? You know hundreds, if not thousands of people just by voice recognition immediately. So you can do the same thing with the piano. It's only 12 different tones. This is the same C.
So how do you like if you was?
It's like same with, like when I really couldn't differentiate between major and minor for a long time. But the more I start purposefully, like it has to be like a deliberate, where I'm trying to say this is a major sound versus a minor sound.
So play the major so we can kind of hear what the major sounds like.
It's a major chord.
Okay.
It's a happy sound, and then the minor. Initially, you can hear the difference. So you start hearing the song, it'll stand out a little bit more.
Because it's stronger, more aggressive. It sounds.
I mean, different people kind of hear it differently. But I mean, certainly the major has a more happy feel to it, and then the minor more sad, gloomy thing happen. And from there, of course, there are more chords than major and minor. But if you learn those two, it helps you to guide you through the other ones, or to hear the alterations.
So like with church, like when you think in church gospel.
You finna play for another church or something? Like you ask me a lot of church questions.
Well, people like like the church.
Okay.
Because I think that the church has like a lot of the fundamentals that a lot of.
You learn a lot. That's why people all over jazz. The R&B, hip hop, this, that, the other neo soul, they taking people out of the church because there's a certain feel you get, certain versatility you get.
Do you know? Have you ever heard like a R&B song that you thought was like really closely to church? Do you know songs like that?
All the time. They just simplify, make it a little bit more commercial.
Okay.
It's the
Do
same
you have
thing,
any examples that you know?
Oh shoot. Yeah, no, because you put me on the spot. But I hear them all the time, and it's like, man, that could easily be a church. You flat that, or you change that, or add this transition chord. That's what we do in church music. We put like a lot of transition chords versus when stuff gets commercialized, it's just straight, pure changes. With a lot of effects, a lot of studio stuff in the background. So this would be like a regular song, right? 4, that'd be like the song. Right? But of course, in church, we're going to be...
Right.
You're going to put in all the other stuff, so it makes it totally feel different.
So do you think that... What do you think the problem with musicians... What do young musicians want to stay away from that you have noticed that people in the industry tend to do a lot more than...
Man, a lot of young musicians. I mean, I'm not saying. Chops are nice, dude, but chops won't really get you where you're trying to be in most cases. If you can't just make a song sound good, the musicians that I really, respect, that are just respectable, not just in my eyes in general, are those who really can just take something simple and make it sound good. If you gotta throw all those chops in there, you know what I'm saying? They kind of say something about your playing, because they can take something really simple and make it sound really, really good. You know what I'm saying? Most of the songs that have went like worldwide, the music wasn't that difficult. It felt good, you love it, but it wasn't like they were.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
They were just, it just made it feel good.
Yeah.
backing it up with whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Simple song. You know, so everybody tried to jazz it up, but it's not like, you know, he's doing like a lot of little riffs and little, you know, things in there that he easily could because it's wide open.
So
Whatever.
do you think that, like, so what do you tell people who are in the church who's playing? I mean, you know, a lot of churches like
Make
keep
it
that.
feel good. Make it just whatever you play, make it feel. That's the key thing. You can do a lot of different, you know, difficult, intricate things and whatever. Be creative. Just make sure it feels good.
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't, it's just whatever. I have learned very difficult, or at least for me, it was very difficult. Like whoa, 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 whoa. A lot of, and people just like, okay, oh great, okay, nice elevator music.
Right.
Not really paying attention,
Right.
but I do that one thing that I just really felt at that moment, like, and it's like, whoa, dude, man, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was so simple. So that's just the way it works.
So if you playing so let's get you playing like a regular traditional shout music. And what are some? And can you show us some of the movements that you will make in a traditional shout?
Oh man, yeah, I gotta call Buster Woods or Brian Pettis on this one, man. I play shout music. That's their forte. I play it. That's all you get, man. I had to feel that.
Yeah.
It's like backing up a preacher. You ask me to back up a preacher, yeah, I could do it. But I have to, I mean, being in that situation, it just makes you feel totally different. At least for me. And I'm not trying to make an excuse, but just for those two things, it's really just a
So
feeling.
everything comes down to feel. You gotta feel. You got when you
Really
playing,
do.
you gotta be into it. And then what do you do? Now I heard people say, you know, you gotta play till it's boring, and then you can add stuff in there if you're not familiar with the song. What do you say?
Play it till it's boring. I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Like, you know, playing it redundantly to the point where you know it very well, and then you go into adding into.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, because I know a lot of people, or I hear a lot of times guys playing it, and they're not even very comfortable with the song, but they're more so about chopping, and they lose where the song is.
Oh, okay.
Where they are in the song, or what comes next, or that kind of stuff. Or it just doesn't sound good, but they get their little chop in.
So do you tell people who get lost in the song from doing all these chopping? What do you tell them to go back to? Just the 1-4-5 basically?
No, just go back to the basic changes of a song if they're capable of doing that. Whatever song that is, just try to go back to the basic and then try to make that sound good and add a little bit in. It's about placement. Every major song, any ballad or whatever case may be, when a piano player did something, it's usually like where he put it. It's what he did, but it's also where he put it that really makes it stand out. Because you got everything. A huge part, to music is the rest, when you let it breathe, right? So when you don't play is really just as important as when you do, because when you don't play, it helps to set it up. When you don't, you know what I mean? So you take a break and then come in and do something or whatever case, or gradually, however. But if you just got stuff going on for the whole song,
Right.
it's not breathing. It's just
It's doing this.
right. It's
Doing too much. So do you think that people do you think people should stick more to the core of the song versus adding a lot of the choppiness, or do you think that's just being fanciful playing?
I can't say that. I can't say that because that goes too much into personal style and that kind of thing. So I know a lot of guys that can do that and do that well. In general, padding the song out is important. You should be able to do that. You know what I mean? You should certainly be able to pad out, because every song is not about the piano. So if you got you ever playing like with a serious lead player who knows how to play, and it's really time for him to go to work, and you can't get out of his way, that's a problem.
I see what you're saying.
Not to mention, you put in another keyboard player and an organ, now your work is really, you got to make it feel good, but you can't just be all over the place. So if you can't pad it out and pick your spots, it's just going to be like a musical fight.
Okay. Well, good. Thank you, Chris. Thank you. What is that? Interview 5? Part 5? Whatever.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
All right.